Hey, somebody needs to watch the ostrich. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer. Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With actual listeners in more than 100 countries, I am the Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. This week, the Professional Noticer is sponsored by Tucker ATV, our friends there in Jackson, Alabama, the small town business with the national reputation. They have all the incredible Polaris vehicles, everything you could possibly want, some stuff you don't even know that is available. They have all the Hustler lawn equipment, including those cool zero-turn things. I just want to ride one. And they have all the Echo power tools. And I'm not just talking about the ones, you see a very little selection in the big box stores sometimes, but they have everything. They have everything. And the place is so much fun to go into, mostly because of Shannon and Lisa Tucker. But Tucker ATV has developed an amazing culture, and the building itself has become a destination because of the antiques and the taxidermy and all the opportunity to look at the stuff. It's incredible. It has become a real destination. And so you're talking about Tucker ATV, a place in a small town that has been doing business with people in 15, 16 states now. Truly, Tucker ATV, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on the Professional Noticer. Sometimes we have people who have keen observations. Sometimes we have people who have good answers to stuff. I think today we have somebody who has a lot of both. And I got to say that this particular interview that we're about to do, I know this is not going to be easy for my guest. Because I'm going to say, now most people would, if I said, well, it's not going to be easy for the guest, they would think, oh, what? It's like kind of 60 minutes kind of thing. Well, it might feel like 60 minutes to this guy because I'm actually going to say some nice things about him. And I've never met anybody in his position that has as much true humility and actually has reason not to be a humble guy. But he is somebody that I admire greatly. And I want you to please welcome my friend, the CEO, founder of Fairway Independent Mortgage. This is Steve Jacobson. Jake, how are you?
Doing good, Coach. How are you?
Man, I'm good. I'm actually just kind of nervous, really, just sitting here talking to you. And because I know, we have a short time, and I could talk to you for hours, drawing stuff out of you. But you're in Texas today, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we met first in Madison, and I want to lay a couple of things. I'd like to get a couple of things out about you for everybody before I start, I guess, hammering in on stuff. But this is something I feel like I need to say right here. I don't think you know this, but I have other clients and CEOs that I work with, but they may be tired of Jake's stories because I tell a lot of them. I use you as an example a lot because, and here's what I want to say, and I just can't hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but, and I've never told you this, but you are the best CEO with whom I have ever had the privilege to work or to watch, to work with or to watch. You're just the best, Jake. And you don't have to say anything, but I hopefully we can, as we go through this today, I hope people can get a sense of why I would say that, because I've certainly known a lot of people and certainly worked with a lot of people. First of all, let me ask you this. I'm going to lay out three things that one of your friends said about you. I said, what is it about Jake that comes to your mind? Just when you think of him, and they said he has a commitment to serve others. He's passionate about his faith, and he's very serious about the relationship with his dad. So start with commitment to serve others. It's something I see in you. Where did that
Well,
come from?
if we're, I think it all depends how you're raised and what you go through in your life and in your past. Um, but having been raised as an athlete and always been on teams, no team does it by themselves. You always need your teammates together, and that camaraderie, my best buddies are still high school, college buddies that I played sports with, and there's nothing like going through those good times and bad times sometimes together to get through. And you realize, you learn early that serving others is what it's all about. And so it's just a discipline. It's really based on how I was raised. And it's not obviously there's a lot of books and a lot of things we've read, and you've coached us, and but really it's not that complicated. Just about how I was raised, I guess, the best way to say it.
And so how you were raised, tell me about the relationship with your dad. I hear you talk about your dad, or reference him a lot. There's a room there in the building that's kind of like a room that honors your dad.
Well, my dad passed in 1999, February 11th of 1999, coming up next week. Be over, it's 22 years or so. We just had that cool relationship. I called him Big Daddy Schwartz. We had, if you'd have seen us hanging out together, he was always pissed at me for something. I was dinking around doing something stupid. And we had a true friendship that was unconditional. And I was raised around, if you depict the Seinfeld episodes of that, that's really how I was raised, around goofballs that were just cool as can be. My high school basketball coach and my dad were best friends. And we just had a lot of fun. And, we never were, we never were not on each other's side. And I think as a guy, you learn as a player being involved in athletics that you believe, the coaches that believe in you,
right?
And the coaches that don't believe in you. And there's a huge difference. And you take whatever talent somebody has, and that talent gets accentuated if somebody believes in you. And if the person doesn't believe in you, talent doesn't matter much. So I think a lot of that is just how we all, growing up in a small Midwestern town in Wisconsin, there wasn't much to do but play baseball, play basketball, and play football. And I was very fortunate to be raised that way, and had a father that I just clicked with, and we got along great.
That's awesome. I want to touch on your passion about your faith when I get to talking about the core values. That's where I want to talk about that. But about this growing up, you grew up in a small town, and you went to a small school, a small high school, and in the state of Wisconsin, a small school, and yet your senior year, you were the leading scorer in the state on your basketball team, correct? And this was before 3-point shots. This was before any of that stuff.
Well, if any of the dudes that from high school that have said, yeah, well, he didn't see a shot he did not like. So hello. So, I'm sure if you round up my high school buddies, they'd roll their eyes and say, well, yeah, I shot all the time. What do you expect? But I was lucky. I was fortunate. I was lucky to be on a team with a guy that ended up playing for the Chicago Bears for 12 years that is still like a great friend. And one of my best friends, Randy Cross, the first day we met, RC was in that dinner with us of 14 people in Madison.
Right.
And so the people that, it's like as a kid, we trust everybody as a kid because we just do. And their word is all we all have as kids. And you trust somebody by their word. And as you get older, you realize that that's really all there is somebody's word. And when you're a kid, you trust everybody. When you get older, you're not sure who you can trust. And so the people that you can trust, you gravitate towards that. I was raised by people that you can trust. And I was just very fortunate, very lucky.
So from high school, you went to the University of Wisconsin. And tell me, basketball, Talk to me.
Very embarrassing for me. It's something I'll never get over. Probably there probably isn't a shrink good enough to help me through that. I went from being, leading scorer in the state my senior year in high school to in 3 years on varsity, scored 14 points. I was voted captain my senior year by the players. Got along with the fellows great. That was all fine, but I didn't get a chance to play. Scored 14 points in 3 years. Embarrassing. Nothing to be proud of. I mean, a lot of work. A lot of discipline, a lot of commitment, but learned a ton from that experience. Graduated from college and moved to Arizona to get out of Madison, Wisconsin. Did not want
Wait,
to.
wait, 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 wait. I'm gonna go back to this because I know you well enough to know what you just skipped over right there. You referenced it, but you skipped over it, and I want to point out. I mean, if there's ever I believe people drop leaves. Jones told me that. He said, you walk in a forest and you can look and pick up a leaf. You don't even have to look up and you can see what kind of tree is above you. Is this an oak? Is it an elm? Is it summer? Is it winter? Fall? What? Is this a young tree, an old tree? Is it a sick tree? A healthy tree? And people drop leaves too. You don't have to see an entire life to read a leaf. People drop leaves just like trees do. And not only was a leaf dropped during that time, you just dropped one there, but you didn't know. Think about this, people who are following sports and stuff, you didn't start. You scored 14 points the whole time, and your team voted you captain.
Well, yeah, getting along with the fellows was never an issue. I was fortunate. Now keep in mind, I'm going to go to a place here, another leaf. I played for the first black coach in the Big Ten. In 7 years at Wisconsin, he had 2 white guards. So I was a token white dude with one other guy, DH. And so what you learn from that, you said, what'd you learn from that? What you learn is it's not what you say, because you can't walk into a group when you're not the same and say anything. It's what you do, and it's your performance each day to earn the respect daily, discipline each day over time. And so, to me, this many years later, I still am disciplined each day, because it's not what somebody says. People say a lot of things they're going to do. Words don't matter much.
Right.
Words can hurt more than help sometimes. Sometimes people can say stuff that hurts, and you don't forget the hurt. But as far as the performance, it's what you do. And it's like our industry. You're the nicest guy in the world. If we're trying to close your loan on a Wednesday, and for some reason we can't close till Friday, we're idiots on Wednesday night and Thursday night. We better perform on Wednesday. In that discipline in our industry, for all mortgagees, every company, we have the same discipline. We have to get that stuff done. And that pressure is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. But you have to earn stuff. Nothing's given.
Who inspired you? Who inspired you when you were young? Who inspired you to understand that and to think that way?
Well, I think that athletics teaches you a lot. I mean, we're not there. How many Michael Jordans is there? Not many. And how many Kobe Bryants is there? Not many. I mean, sooner or later, somebody's not good enough, and you have to deal with not being good enough. I think in any industry, you better be competitive. You better be okay with being competitive. Competition is a daily deal. You better be okay with somebody talking smack in your face. You better be okay with that. You better kind of like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And I think, I think that the naysayers, and no matter who you are, you're a writer, one of the best writers in the world. I'm sure there's people, your story with your first book having to go through 50 plus, people saying no. There's something inside that happens to a person when people tell you can't do something. I mean, so you have to kind of enjoy the competition and being competitive. And I think that's, if anything, athletics teaches you, especially when you don't play, especially when you think you're good enough to play, that fire never leaves.
Right.
It never leaves. And, it comes, I mean, personally, I like athletes. I like backgrounds of athletics. I like people that have been through stuff.
Right.
Because it's never perfect. It's not perfect.
That is still though, that is an amazing, if somebody could, could look like God does, look at the time continuum, see the past, see the present, and see the future. It's an amazing thing. It's still, to me, I think about this a lot, that you were not a starter on the team and they elected you captain. I mean, what does that presage in somebody's life? I mean, University of Alabama, I walk around Denny's Chimes and they have the team captains from every year, their names and their footprints and their handprints in the cement. And it's all stars. It's all the stars. It's the quarterbacks. It's it's the running back. It's the stars there. And yet you have managed, you managed to be a star to the people that were most important at that time, the people on your team. And I see you as a person when I'm around you and I see you around employees, you make stars out of these people. I walk around with some CEOs and they're the star, but not you. You make stars out of these people. And I think that is such a key to what you do. Tell me about when you were in college. Tell me, what does this mean to you, the precious present?
I had a coach. His name is Bo Ryan. Bo Ryan was an assistant coach when I was in high school and college at Wisconsin. He ended up being the coach at Wisconsin for years. And Bo talked to us all the time about the precious present, which meant if you missed a shot and you pouted, you're probably gonna miss another one. If you made a shot and thought it was a big deal, somebody will take advantage of you, being whatever. You better play all the time. You better play right now. Let's go play, like right now. The precious present, in other words, you say something nice about me, my reaction is thank you, coach. But guess what? If I don't do something the next minute that's good, it's conditional. There's a lot of conditional relationships in business. They like you if, they like you when. Well, that's okay. You have to accept the fact that that's just kind of how it goes. The precious present means you better play right now. And that precious present is kind of interesting. As I'm listening to you talk about the captain thing, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I better tell him I was co-captain. And actually, the co-captain is an attorney with the SEC. And Zink, who's a buddy, is texting me yesterday or the day before about we have a buddy that we played basketball with. His son is a walk-on at Iowa State. And, a week and a half ago, their whole team's got COVID. And so he played 23 minutes one night and 19 minutes the next night or the night. And it's all of us college buddies texting each other back and forth. And it's just a blast. You can't make that stuff up,
How awesome.
And Nate Jenkins, who his dad, Bob Jenkins, was also a captain, but he was a senior when I was a sophomore. We're all real close. And that's the beauty of those experiences that never leave you.
That is great. I think people are starting to grab a sense of your personality, and I'm curious about this. I think I know the answer, but I would like to hear it from you. How much prep time do you do for meetings?
I don't. I just play. You could give us 3 bullet points and let's go. Let's play.
That would shock a ton of people. That the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and you told me before, I don't want to practice. Let's play.
I sat on the bench enough, coach. I just want to play. I'm not. Give me some bullet points. Let's go.
Oh my gosh!
You have to evaluate the numbers. It's always good to have the spreadsheets and disciplines, but it's like any audience. 3 things. They don't want any more than 3 things. You say we're going to talk about 10 things, you lose them. Let's go. 3 things. Boom. Let's roll.
Yeah. All right. This is. I'll tell you who said this. Greg Steinhaus.
Who we call Monkey Shine.
Monkey Shine. Now, see, I've heard you call him what? I've heard you call him Bracy, Muskie, Monkey Shine. Where did Bracy come from? Because there's a Bracy T-shirt.
There is a break. Well, this is a dude that he played college basketball at Wisconsin. My last semester, I was in charge of study table, which doesn't say much at all. But he was a freshman. I was in my last semester. It took me 4.5 years to graduate. And he and one other dude, Greg Danders, who was an amazing buddy of mine, those two were trouble. And he's been
Really?
trouble ever since. So
Is this why monkey shines?
well, yeah, but the brace thing is he's like 6 foot, like 11 or something, and he fell out of a tree 4 or 5 years ago, and really
I
almost
remember.
hurt himself pretty bad, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And but we say he bounced 50 feet, and that's part of the issue with his brain. So he had to wear a brace around himself for a while, and so there's a video out there of us. First time I saw him after his fall, and I was having a little fun with him and in his brace, and I'm sure you've seen that video, and that's where that
yeah.
started.
Yeah, I've got 2 of the T-shirts.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, and it's amazing to see your friendship with him.
But he's been here 20 years.
Right.
At Fairway.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's what he said. He said, Jake has an unbelievable ability to identify someone's heart with an employee. Are they good people? Can they be trusted? Are they humble? This sounds like an obvious skill for someone who is a CEO, but I have never experienced anything approaching Jake's keen sense about people and how quickly he can come to a conclusion about people. Where do you develop that keen sense?
Well, I don't know if what he's saying. I think he bounced a little higher than 50 feet. I think he went 75 feet. I mean, we're always learning. We're watching. You're the noticer. Okay. And you just watch and listen. And people, I mean, if you watch and listen and you have history of their life a little bit, we all have issues that, everybody's a winner the first day. They're excited. They're happy. Everybody says great things the first day. It's always about how somebody handles adversity that you find out what they're really all about. And this position, like other CEOs, you get a chance to watch how people handle adversity. And so it's almost like you're in the position of being a noticer.
Right.
And you barked on us back when we were closing $5 to $6 billion a year. And you're the one that made it real clear to us that culture is about how you think. And so you have to spend time watching, listening, and observing, to understand other people. And, that's a daily discipline too.
Right.
And so the thinking part, the watching, the observing, the listening, that's all part of that answer, which is available to anyone. So when he says whatever he said, I think he bounced more than 50 feet is what that's my takeaway.
That's not true. That's not true.
Maybe
but
75 feet.
I got to say that one of the things that I talk to other people in leadership about you, that I tell them, I say that we made a commitment. You became my object lesson. You and Fairway became my object lesson because you and Nick Saban have a ton in common. I never really had to let's just put it this way. You guys, both of you guys, could take a little thing, and I would hear 6 months later, Coach said this, and he said, and I would sit there and listen. And I go, did I say that? Well, I kind of said that, but I think Jake took that and grew that a lot. And you were able to take little things and continue to work on them mentally and work on them. And one of the things I brag about you with is I've never seen a CEO who is able to make individuals feel like this day is about them, this moment is about them. I watch people like you a lot, Jake, and there's a lot of, I'm talking to this guy, but the mayor is waiting for me over here, and I see their eyes do this a lot. That's not you. I mean, these these people, these employees that work with you, your team members. And I've seen you with people out and about, and you have an amazing ability to connect with them and make them feel like they're the most important person to you. And I get that in that precious present, they really are. You have really, there is no fakery in you.
Well, thank you for that, Coach. You may ask why is that, and I will share as I'm listening to you. What jumps out to me about that is when you go from being the maybe arguably one of the top people in a sport to being the end of the bench, and you watch how you're treated every day, and you watch what it does to your insides. And then you flip it. You say, I will never treat that person that way. Now, we got 9,600 people. If you poll them all, they're not all fans of mine. Okay. That's truth. I mean, you got that many people, it's not going to be that way. And we look for humble, hungry, and smart people. And whenever you make decisions, there's always somebody on the other side of the decision. And it's not like it's always, hey, it's great. Right. So you look for a certain type, but there's a humility factor that really resonates, and we really look for that. And we say before every meeting that we have, and we had meetings, which we haven't had one forever, before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty. Before honor is humility. And all you have to do, and all everybody knows this. You just watch how they treat their core. How do they treat the people around them? How do they treat their team? Some do good, some do not so good. So I think a lot depends on how people treat everybody around them. And I was raised in college. I wasn't impressed with how people were treated around me. Just wasn't impressed. I'm not saying me, I'm watching everybody else too.
Right.
I will share one story with you that's one of the coolest stories. I'm not sure you even know this story. This was one of the enjoyable things. So my sophomore year in college, if we win the last game, we go to the NIT, which for Wisconsin back then was a deal, right? Well, the starting guard. So we have this, white against red team scrimmage, which is always real competitive. It just is, and everybody's played college basketball knows the first team and second team compete. It's fun and it's competitive. We got in a fight that practice, me and the other guy. The other guy got kicked out of practice, got kicked out of the game, couldn't play the next game. We had not spoken for 39 years. He went on to play in the NBA, got 2 NBA championship rings with the LA Lakers. We interviewed each other, or I interviewed him last year, and he says, yo, Jaco, let's chop it up, man. I said, okay. He's texting me, let's chop it up. And you say, how would this person you reach out? I haven't talked to him in 39 years. One of our branches, long story short, somebody knows him that knows somebody. He reached out to me. We had an interview and he says, let's talk before the interview. I said, no, let's just play. And that was so fun. Now we've done it twice, and his son right now plays for the LA Lakers. So his son also plays in the NBA. Nothing better. And we talked about that practice.
Who is it? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I can tell you. It's Wes Matthews.
Okay.
Wes Matthews is a backup point guard to Magic Johnson when the Lakers won some of their championships. And I asked him first question, dude, here's my first question for you. Did you ever in the NBA 10 years meet anybody as quick as you? Because if you did, I don't believe it. Yo, Jaco, man. And he mentioned 2 people that he thought they had it. And one of those 2 was Maurice Cheeks. But it was just interesting, and we had fun. It was, if you'd listened to that, and we taped it, if you'd listened to it, you'd have loved it.
I want to listen to it. I'll call Kathy. I'll make sure I get to listen to that. So when we, and I want to get some of this stuff in here because I really want to get on to the core values, and I want to ask you about some of these names that you're calling people that I think is very funny. But do you remember this is one of our first conversations. It was after the night I'd spoken there. I remember sitting in the place with you that your convention had been, and I didn't have to go to the airport quickly, and you were just sitting around. So I sat there, and they're tearing the place down. Do you remember that? Do you remember what we started talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me that story.
Well, I remember,
I think about that day a lot. That's why
let me back up to the night before, okay? Because the night before, what we always would do, and this was probably, we're going to hit 25 years here in a month or two. And this was probably what, 10 years ago? Something like that, 8, 9
yeah,
years ago?
7 years ago.
7 years. Okay. So we had a whole bunch of annual meetings so far, whole bunch.
Right.
And every year what we would do is have the guest speaker have dinner with a select few people before the next day. And we have never had one like we had one with you.
Why is that?
And it was you. It was how special you were, how interested you were in the people. I remember every person in that room that night. Okay. And they were selected on purpose for a specific reason. And we had a dinner. My nephew was there. My sister was there. My best friend was there. And he flew in. His family was in St. Thomas. I'm sorry, St. John. And he flew in special from Dallas to have that dinner. And then he flew out. That same night, he went to Chicago and went to St. John. So he came just to have that dinner.
Randy.
Yeah, RC. And what you did that night for our team and how comfortable it was, never forget that night. We'll never forget it. It was a blast. And it was 3-4 hours of just everybody having fun. There was no tension. Now keep in mind, we had, X amount of years of history of doing this. It wasn't even close. And what happened here, what we did, a month and a half ago, you and I, what would happen and stuff. That's all because of stuff like that. Because right from the start, you were family to us, right from the start. So, you impacted people that night, and people that were at that dinner still talk about that night. So
yeah,
that was, there's certain, in any company, when you have X amount of people, you have special nights you never forget. That was one of the special nights you'll never forget.
I remember that. I remember that night because of Randy and his wife. I since been around her and the boys and and Sherry there and Dylan there, your sister and your nephew.
He was there. Wheezy was there.
Wheezy was there. Yeah. Oh man,
there was Joe Thies and Ken Peterson. Melissa. I can go right down. I know who was there that night. Which is weird.
See, you're saying nice things about me, but I left that, and I've always considered it a God thing that I was even there, because most people don't know what it's like to be a speaker and travel around and do night after night, and people think, because I don't know, I feel weird even saying this, but I generally we turn down the opportunity to eat with people the night before, the day of, and the reason is nothing against them. It's just because, for you over here, this is once a year for you. For me, this is night after night. My voice has to be good tomorrow. I can't spend 3 hours talking tonight and then not be able to do what you're bringing me in to do. But for whatever reason, I totally remember SB saying they'd like you to come in for dinner, and I know you probably don't want to do that. Do you want me to decline that? And I said, no, I just the night before there at the hotel. And she said, yeah. I said, and I had never met any of you. Right. And I said, no, I want to go there. She said, you do? I said, yes. I want to have dinner with them. And I remember kind of being amazed about that myself, that I really wanted to. But after I left that night, I was blown away. I was just blown away by the people in there. I just felt like I loved every one of them. I felt like I had new buddies. And so that's the next day when you and I were sitting there talking when they're leveling everything down. I said, Jake, you have incredible people. These are just incredible people. And do you remember what I said that I thought that you could do?
You said something about we can double.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now keep in mind, 7 years ago, if I go back to the Fairway, because we have it on our website. So that was what year, Coach?
That was the year you had done 5.5 billion the year before. You had just finished 5.6. And when I said you could double, you said, well, it took us 19 years to get here. But I felt, and again, that's just a God thing. I felt so strongly that you guys could do that, and that I wanted to be around you when you did it. And I have gained so much by watching you these past 7 years. But I think the one thing that I think makes it just a slam dunk that it's a God thing. I think that God provides things for us sometimes that he says, now, I just want you to be sure that this is me and not you. And so because I want you to be sure, I'm going to make it appear in such a way that you would never have been able to control this. Well, that's what we said, double to begin with. And so and I remember you started sending me numbers as the years went on, and I never will forget being on the couch with Polly December 31st of that year, New Year's Eve, and you texting me your closing number, which was 11.2 billion, which was exactly double. Which is freaky.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And if I look, and I just want to go over this really quickly because I've got something I want to say about this. If I look at the years following, in 16, and this is on your website, or it's on Fairway's website. In 16, you went from 11.2 to 17.6. In 2017, 21.2. In 2018, 26.7. 2019, 39.1. And in 19, the National Mortgage News named Fairway the best mortgage company to work for in America. And then this year, you just closed at 65.8 billion. And I gotta say this, the other day, Top Workplaces USA named Fairway Independent Mortgage, of all the companies in America with over 2,500 employees, they named you guys the #1 best place to work in America. Jake, that's astonishing, but it's also, it is absolutely logical to you and me, but I don't think it's logical to a lot of people because you have competed with culture in an amazing way.
Well, it's I don't know how much you want to get into the story, so it really you're the coach here.
Talk to me.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a north-south story. Okay, you're going to laugh. Okay. I think you'll laugh at this. All right.
All right.
So growing up in the North, all right, a Bible is something that you see at a funeral, maybe, and you might see at a hotel. You have in the top left, the
sure.
shelf.
The Gideon Bible, yeah.
But nobody ever reads it. Okay.
Right.
In the North, nobody reads the Bible. Okay. We're raised Catholic, Lutheran, Presbyterian, Baptist, but nobody reads the Bible. Okay. In the South, which I've been since 1990, people read the Bible. Okay, go figure. So you say, why are you telling the story? In 2008, we closed 1.97 billion, 1.97 in 2008. We started Fairway in 1996. So 12 years to get to 1.97 billion. At the end of that year, we had 662 employees. Okay. 12 years later, we have 9,600, and you said we closed 66 billion or whatever last year. In 2008, there's this gal, Louise Thaxton, and anybody that knows the Fairway story knows.
Wheezy.
We call her Wheezy. Then we call her Boo Fontana because during COVID, her hair blew out like this. So now her nickname is Boo Fontana. And we've actually said that the whole state's been changed from Louisiana to Boo Fontana. But anyhow, So Wheezy started telling me about in 2002 or 2003 that I should be reading the Bible. And I says, Wheezy, why do you do that for? Why would you read the? I don't understand why you would do that. I mean, I believe in God and stuff, and that's fine. And I go to church, and that's fine. But why would you read the Bible? She goes, son, if you just read the Bible, I mean, it's only Wheezy can say, and you know,
I can
Wheezy,
hear
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just hear it. So anyhow, we were going through some stuff. The industry was in 207, 208 that affected everyone in the industry, and a lot of companies didn't make it through that time. Wheezy sent me her Charles Stanley 1-year daily Bible at the end of 2008. I have read that Bible every day since 2008 without missing a day. Now, I still got 100 things wrong with me. I'm way far. Ask Monkey Shine. I got 300 things wrong with me. But the daily discipline of reading that Bible every day, I mean, people say, what happened? If you really wanted the truth of it, you want to really dig into it. We were at 1.97 billion in 12 years. In the next 12 years, we went from 1.97 billion to 66.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many days that I thought I was going to do something. And then that morning I read it. I said, oh, okay. So now saying that, if it helps one person, that's all that matters. There'll be 100. If 100 hear it, 99 may think it's crazy. It's for the one, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. That takes care of itself. But that's a discipline that is just part of what I have to do.
I've heard you say that a lot. If it helps one, and I've seen you do things that were very uncomfortable for you to do. A couple of years ago, you began in earnest writing something every morning to these people. I mean, you're piling in. I mean, literally went from 600 and something employees to right at 10,000 now. And as busy as you must be, I would see what time that would come in every morning. And you did that. And we talked about it during that time of you doing it, about how, this is not easy. You never considered yourself a writer. But I would look at this and I go, buddy, this stuff is perfect. I mean, it's just, this is pouring out of your heart and your soul. And, how are you going to feed that many people? And I think that what you wrote during that time, and that you still do now, in typical Jake style, you've gotten everybody involved. And every morning I see something come in from somebody in the company. This morning it was Shooter, and she, this awesome thing about her dad. I just loved that. And I thought, I bet Jake loves this because it's about her dad. And I do. My dad died 45 years ago. And as much as we miss our dads, I know that you and I are both very grateful that we had great dads, and that was great reading that of hers. But
you know what's cool about her? You know what that story was so cool? They've been here for years. And so I've known about her since when she was a freshman in high school. And her dad was so proud of her. She played basketball this year. And then she went to college and played. And so I've known about her for years. And then her last year in college, she said, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this. And she's in the mortgage business. So I've known about this. I call her Shooter. The real truth is Shooter, no D. I said, you're the only person in the state of Tennessee that they have this law in the state of Tennessee for basketball. They actually let her take the ball out of bounds, pass to herself, and then play, because she never passed in her whole college career, which is amazing to think it. But her real name is Shooter No D. But yeah, what a great young. I mean, just that was cool, wasn't it? It was fun.
Yeah, it really was, and that's something that you've inspired in these people. If I could, I want to ask you about these core values, and then I want to ask you about the nicknames, and then I'll let you go. But I feel like I could do, a couple of weeks worth of shows with you, and I hope people are. Well, let's just go into this. When I first became aware of your 10 core values, it was when I was I would hear you talk about them. I would hear you guys reference them, but I don't think it like hammered in my brain until I went into your old building, and in that meeting room, the cafeteria, they're written on the walls. I mean, written on the walls. And of course, now you're in the new building and it's etched in glass on the door there in this lobby, and they're all over. But I want to go through these really quickly and have you just do a little bit on each of them, but also, if it makes sense, to tell me why. Really, the only one I want to know is the first one. Why is this placed here? And why is it said this way? But 1 through 10, the first one is humility first.
Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty. Before honor is humility. Having been raised as an athlete, if you play today and you make 10 shots in a row, you're amazing. If you miss 10 shots in a row, you're terrible. It's a day-to-day thing. There's a book written by Roy Firestone. Years and years ago, I read this, and Roy talked about interviewing people. Is you can interview the most famous person in the world that's done all these things. As soon as the interview's over, it's over. That's one moment. It's over. What happens to the next moment? The next moment. The next moment. And it's like you learn more in your life. We all do. We learn more in our valleys than we do in our mountaintops. All the tough stuff we've all went through in our life, that's where we learn stuff.
Right.
In life's we all do face stuff, right? And when you face stuff and some horrific stuff, my best friend in college, is inseparable for 2 years, died in a crack house. I miss that dude every day, right? And my best friend from high school died of a heart attack 6 years ago. I miss that dude every day. I miss my dad every day. I miss my high school basketball. I mean, the point is, we've all been through stuff, all of us.
Right.
And when you've been through, then you learn to appreciate this life more, right? And you look for humility in people. You look for that humbleness. And you don't really know what it looks like, but you know what it's not.
Yeah.
And when we sense what it's not, people either give or take energy. And life's tough enough with people that have that humility about them. And when people don't have the humility, it's like, do you really want to hang with them? I don't know.
Right.
And so we look for people that have that. And in sales, hey, you got to be confident. I mean, we all have to, but there's a difference, and we try our best. No, we're not perfect. We try our best to find the humble folks.
Yeah, there is a difference. The second one is fostering growth and knowledge. I think it's interesting that growth is in there. Comment on that.
Say it again, because I was checking an email there.
Foster. I don't doubt that. I do not doubt that you were checking an email right then. Second is fostering growth and knowledge.
Well, here's the deal. People always have to know what's around. We never know what's around the corner. People are either going up or they're going down. There's never a baseline of in between. You got to give painters, you're a painter, a blank canvas to paint on.
Right.
You can't put you in a box, say, coach, you got to do this. Because sooner or later, that will cause you to leave any place you're at. You have to be able to paint and grow. Growth may not mean numbers, but it needs growth.
Right.
So you have to have that.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of companies that I've even like loosely examined, they make just kind of they tilt their head at personal growth because I think most of them think they do that because they think they're supposed to, or they know they're supposed to, but you guys take that as a mantra. You know that if you grow your people, that the people, that's the culture. You're competing with culture. That's what we said from the very beginning, that you're going to compete in ways the competition doesn't know a game is going on. By the way, the reason I made the smart aleck comment about the email is that Austin is going to.
It wasn't smart aleck. It was fine.
No. Well, I mean, I didn't want anybody to think it was smart aleck.
No, coach, you're right. I was. I mean, if I did, I admit it.
No, I know, but I would never expect anything else. But I want people to know that this will be a very funny part for Austin to watch. To watch this part with you, the email. And the reason is because there was a time that I was talking to Austin. He's my oldest son. You know Austin, and there was something that had come in, a question from one of his clients, and he mentioned it to me. And I said, "So tell me what? When did that? Is this what you're going to do? And so when did that come in?" He said, "This morning." I said, "So you've already answered that?" And it was about 3:00 in the afternoon. He said, "No, sir, I'm going to this afternoon." I said, "Buddy, it's your business. You do what you feel like you need, but let me encourage you to understand you need to communicate quickly. Especially when somebody's having an issue, you need to communicate quickly because if in the absence of a narrative, they'll come up with their own, right? I mean, there's sometimes their imagination, you keep it quiet, their imagination can beat you before you have a chance to play." And I said, "Now, Mr. Jake." He said, "Right." I said, "Here's this CEO of this multi-billion-dollar company. And Austin, if I texted him right now, if I emailed him, I would get an answer within a minute." And he kind of gave me one of those, I don't know about that. And I said, "Really? Here, put the clock on it." And I texted you, and I hadn't talked to you in a couple of weeks, and I texted you, and I said, "Hey, Jake, just kind of saying hello, making sure everything's good." And something like that. I mean, it was nothing that you had to respond to ever, or that anybody, a lot of people would have never responded. And it was 32 seconds. And I got it back from you. "Hey, coach, all going great. Everything good there." And Austin was astonished. But it's amazing. And that's one of the core values. Number 4 is creating an amazing experience. Number 3 is having fun. That's an obvious one here. Creating an amazing experience for you. We could hear tons of stories about how you have done that. But I think part of the amazing experience for your clients is number 5, speed to respond.
We are under a microscope in our industry, and we all mortgagees have a discipline that if we're going to keep doing this, we better roll back to the client quick. Like right now.
Right.
Clients for us are our own employees. So it goes both ways. And that's, it's conditional. I like you if. Boy, I like them if. Oh, they're great if. And guess what? That's the nature of the game.
Right.
So people think it's unconditional. No, it's not. It's conditional. We better perform every day. And it breaks down. I mean, when I say every day, that's cliche-ish. We play fast. Have to.
You do play fast. Number 6, seek wise counsel.
Safety in numbers, always safety in other opinions. There's always safety. It's like you've said this many times. I heard you talk about it. Have you ever been right, and then 6 months later you were wrong? But you knew you were right now, and then 6 months later you look back in that time, you go, "Gosh, maybe I was wrong." And how do you avoid that? You ask people opinions, and you get wise counsel.
Right. That wise counsel is so huge.
So, Coach, we listened. That's one of your skills, Coach. You had to like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I know.
You talked about that. You talked about that to us at our corporate office in Madison. But when we hadn't had you speak for a year or two, and that was like part of your new. I mean, it was good.
Yeah. Well, I just, it's one of the things I thought about this the other day because I had somebody come in and they did this. There are people that look at certain people and they think, man, they seem to be on just like a lucky streak, or everything they do seems to. Well, I find that people like you that are hugely successful, and they think, well, Jake's decision making is so great, but it's not just Jake's thoughts. It's not his best thinking. It's his best thinking, and his this guy's best thinking, and this lady's best thinking, and these best thinking, and so what are you're making your chances so much better. And I have people come in sometimes and they say, hey, I did this and I just did this, and we just decided to do this, and so we've done this. What do you think? And when I hear that, I always say, great, because it doesn't matter what I think. You already did it. Well, what am I going to tell you? You already did it. And people forget to seek that wise counsel ahead of time.
Well,
Because
Coach, here's the question, and this you think about this: how many times in the course of 30 days does somebody reach out or call and say, "Coach, I really want to get your opinion on something"? And no matter how busy somebody is, think about this: no matter how busy somebody is, if somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I want to get your opinion on something," don't you make time to give your opinion?
yeah,
It may not be that
yeah,
minute, but it might be the next day. So
right,
people do enjoy to be asked, "Hey, what do you think?"
right. Yeah, absolutely. Number 7, respect, listen, and stay balanced.
Well, we have we laugh about it. We have 5 date experiences a day where somebody loses control and they spike and they spike and they go up and they go down. And so, we have a lot of history with emotional stuff going on in this industry, and it's something we have to take care of every day.
You teach a very high level of emotional IQ there. That's one thing that I look at the culture that you guys have created there. And this is a place of high emotional IQ. These people understand. I mean, we all get kind of weird sometimes, but you got a lot of adults there, you know.
Well, but you have to, it's a discipline across the board because clients, there's no patience. And so every day we practice this every day. We don't have it down. We practice
Right,
it every day.
right, right. Number 8, committed to serve. And you do in so many ways. I'm always amazed to see what you've done with Fairway Cares, with American Warrior Initiative. Tell me, just briefly go over just some of the stats that you remember, just about some of that, because these are two charitable organizations that you guys created that I've seen companies that they'll give a check to somebody and they'll be in the newspaper, and I'm sure their employees look and go, yeah, okay, yeah, that was. But you guys, your employees, a massive percentage of them fund these charitable organizations that you guys have created. They fund them with their paychecks. I mean, they help.
Both Fairway Cares and American Warrior Initiative are nonprofits that the donations are north of, I'll just say it this way, it's north of $1 million, okay? And for each one,
Yearly.
yearly. And these are donations from people inside Fairway. And they're used, the one is for all veterans. I mean, I'm texting Boo Fontana right now and asking how many service dogs we gave away last year. And it's everything with veterans. So even with COVID, we've done things for veterans in markets where we may give them a car or a business grant, and there's a giving with those monies we give to the groups of veterans. On the Fairway Cares, it's whenever somebody's gone through a traumatic loss, and because of the history of me and my sister and what we've lost. She's the CEO of Fairway Cares, and it's a blast to watch her.
She is an incredible CEO of Fairway Cares.
She would be a cool interview. So would Boo Fontana.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. We're going to do that.
Those two. Now, keep in mind, good luck at keeping it an hour. Good luck.
Well, I'm fixing to tilt you over just a little bit, but
But I'm just saying those two. And hey, it's like this. I mean, we all have a responsibility. If we've been blessed with what we've been given, then we have a responsibility to give back.
Well, you're personally and corporately incredibly generous, and I've seen that not just out in the marketplace, but I've seen that in my personal life. You have been very generous with me, with every part of your life, including financial and time and everything. And I see that. I see you leading the charge with that. But to think that these two things are funded with more than $1 million a year, that's coming out of people that said, yes, take this much out of my paycheck every time. It's stunning what you guys have been able to do. And if Wheezy gets back with you quickly, which I'm sure she will, let me know the number of the guide dogs.
Well, we'll do that here.
And number 9, consistent, honest communication, and number 10, family focused. What, you know,
Well, it's like this. I mean, our industry is a competitive industry. And when I was at a place for 12 and a half years beforehand that they just wanted to do more every year. And here we say, because I didn't like that. I mean, the pressure of that is like, it's pressure. And so we say here, it's your faith, your family, we're 3, 1 and 2 is personal. When you have 9,600 people, you got people that might believe this is a God. I mean, you never know. I mean, everybody's different, but the point is take care of 1 and 2 first, and then we're 3, whatever that is. And we're okay with whatever that is.
right.
You have to do this and make it be what you want it to be for yourself first.
That is awesome. All right, I want to close this out with a little discussion on nicknames, but before I totally get there, I do want to ask, and I hope this is okay, because I know, just being a friend, being somewhat of an insider, you guys anonymously give a lot, and do you mind? I've recently, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but I found out that yesterday you guys gave $1 million away. Do you mind telling me who that was to?
Well, I'll just say this, Coach. I'm a slow learner. Okay, I'm 60 years old. I'm from a little town in Wisconsin. If you threw $10 towards the church, whatever, you were hoping somebody would miss it, so you just grab it yourself. Okay, when you went to church, right? $10, $20, a lot of money. So it took me years to learn, even after I saw it, what tithing meant. Okay,
Right.
and I thought for a year or two, hey, maybe it's net. It's not gross, is it? It can't be gross. It's got to be net, right? Well, long story short, if you peel back the financial part of Fairway, when we started tithing, I should say this, when I started tithing personally, is when Fairway's thing changed. And so
Right.
I do believe if I died today, that if there's one thing I want somebody to know is, honor. Of course, it's hard to say because people have different beliefs. I'm surely not judgmental, but if people believe in God, the tithing is a non-negotiable, and it's a non-negotiable, and it's not. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you give, you'll get back, and I guess that's enough right there. And we have a discipline here of giving. Now, when you say that amount, giving should be quiet. It shouldn't be announced, right? So the only reason we did that number for that is because it was the Mortgage Bankers Association's nonprofit. And because there's 466 non-mortgage bankers in the country, and we're in the top handful of a couple, biggest, and guess what? We're not liked. I never do podcasts. Always say no. We don't say yes to anything that puts us in public eye. We're very quiet, very unassuming, hopefully. The people we talked to figured, hey, if Fairway's name's there with the amount, people will be pissed off and they'll probably donate too. So that donation was really.
And tell me, because I know this, but tell who gets this money.
It's
why you're interested in other people doing something too.
Well, I mean, listen, this country has been devastated because of the pandemic. There's food banks all over the country. There's food banks in Phoenix and Dallas and Madison and in your town. I mean, single parent families losing jobs, needing food. Our biggest initiative, and it should be anybody's initiative for any company, doesn't matter the industry, for 2021. If you have extra, give it to the food banks. And when you hear the stories, Coach, of people waiting in line for one meal, I mean, come on. If we've been blessed, we have an obligation. It's not our money. We have an obligation to give back. It's as simple as that. And it's a big deal. Now, keep in mind, you think that there's hyperness in this company. Wheezy you can't see it, but Wheezy sent me a whole book worth of stuff since I asked that text. So Wheezy, I mean, my gosh, it'd take another hour for me to I told you, when you get her and my sister on, good luck, Coach. I mean, we've gotten, so this year already, we've already, we have the monies for 50. These are what do you call these dogs?
Service dogs.
There's 20 been given, 30 in the wings waiting to be presented, happening in the next few months. Story was driving, but say 50 dogs funded. That's Wheezy. Okay, and she's amazing.
And that's among a bunch of other things. That's just one of the many things.
When you talk to Wheezy, just say, Wheezy, what's up with this Boo Fontana? Why when I go to Louisiana, I see all the maps are named Boo Fontana? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I will. And so I hear, these are just some of the ones that I have heard. All right. I mean, I heard Striker, Kettle Chip, Jockaholic, Hang Time. Hang Time was a punter in college. Stretch, he was a first baseman in college. Reader's Digest, this is kind of, you guys want to get to the point. But I want to ask you, how many nicknames do you think, I've had some other people estimate, but how many nicknames do you believe you have given?
Okay, so let me ask you this, Coach. How old are you?
61.
I'm 60. Guess what happens if we get a little, what do? We forget names. Can't pronounce them. There's an attorney that I've known forever. I can't tell her name. If it's Jeannie, Jenny, I just call her Buddy H. It works. I mean, so much of the nicknames it's easier to remember nicknames as remember names. Is it Jean? What is it? I mean, Jen or Jean or I don't know. But if it's a nickname like Fabio, that's Frog, our buddy Frog. Of course, that he's got mental problems, but most are legitimate.
All right. I want to go down the list, and I want you to tell me the nicknames for these people. Okay.
Okay.
Kirby.
Hometown.
Eric Brown.
Frenchie.
Ashley Cook.
Big Ticket, aka Police Ticket.
Where'd that come from?
Well, she's bossy.
Okay. All right.
She gets a little bossy. We call her Police Ticket. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Paula.
Princess.
Joy Knock.
747.
Why 747?
Have you ever seen her? She's 3'5", and she runs this company behind her 48 computer screens. And when you go into her office, you can hear her. You can't see her. Then you go over by her, and she stands up, and you can see her three tips of her fingers above all the computer screens. We just figure she's flying this company from behind those screens. We call her 747.
Lynn Krapinski.
Brew Daddy.
Trista Mayer.
Trista does not have a nickname.
Really? Okay.
Head of compliance. Gotta be careful with that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I got that. Sarah Middleton.
Kobe,
of course. And Cindy Porterfield. I love hers.
Speedy Sunshine.
Yeah. Louise is Wheezy. Paul.
No. Wait. Wheezy is Boo Fontana.
Boo Fontana now. See, I got to write that down because I got to tell her I saw it on the map.
It's her hair standards. And she's texting me right now saying, well, where's Andy? Why can't I talk to Andy? I said, just settle down. Where is he waiting? He goes, where is he waiting? I don't see an email.
And then Paul is Slinger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've had estimates. People said 300 to 400 nicknames, and I believe that. It's part of the culture there, and it's a part of the way that you make working there fun. And you make it fun. I mean, it's like, man, when you stand up and you're just all of a sudden looking at a bunch of people and you're calling out, there's Purple Horns and it's just hilarious to me.
Purple Horns is easy though. When you're a Packer fan, you go get your hair cut at a little barber shop in Wisconsin. The dude starts writing, etching a purple horn behind your head because you can't see behind your head. You call them purple horns. I mean,
There you go.
what are you gonna do?
But I know that the people that you love the most, I remember coming home from kindergarten one day crying, and I told my parents that they were making fun of me. They were teasing me. And my parents told me, I don't know if this is true or not, but they said, well, the people who love you the most will tease you the most. And if that is true, then you must really love Dan Richards and Greg Steinhaus.
They're, it's like anything. You got your buddies and I got my buddies. It's just like don't have a lot of, I mean, what it's like to have unconditionals. And
Yeah.
when you have a whole bunch of teammates, it's not all unconditional. So when you find your unconditionals, it's pretty special.
It is awesome to me to watch you get those guys. I mean, you're always on Frogger. You're always on.
Frogger's got problems. Frogger's an issue. He's a walking issue.
And when I see when those shirts came out, and then when you built the building and you put that picture on the gymnasium, all over the walls of the gymnasium, Steinhaus, it is hilarious to me to watch him react to you because he's your college buddy. And
yeah,
so,
but dude, here's the deal. I got to tell you before we close here, this is important for everybody to hear. If you ever get invited to his house, don't go. Do not go to his house. He's on 88.
Tell him why.
Why? Dude's got things stuffed all over his property. I go to his property. There's deer. I don't know if they're alive or dead. I don't know what they are. They're stuffed. They're out there. And I think I'm gonna get stuffed. As soon as I walk in, he asked me to drink something. I said, I ain't drinking nothing here. I'm getting the hell out of here. You go to his property and look out. There's things stuffed all over the place in that property. I ain't going.
Oh my gosh!
And he might put you on the wall in his house. I don't know. I think he's married to Saint. I mean, Josie's a saint.
Oh yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Buddy, Polly and the boys were so excited I was going to get to talk to you today, and they said hello and they love you and appreciate you. And I do too. You are a dear friend, Jake, and you are an inspiration to me, just a helper to me. You're a wise counsel. And my life is much, much richer having spent a number of years around you. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Coach, everybody here adores you. You know that. This is family here. And the only bad part of this little podcast is Wheezy and Sherry May. I mean, my gosh, good luck.
I'm having them. I am definitely having them. But I know what you're talking about. And that's okay. Because they got fun, cool stories.
Yeah, but you won't be able, you better have two questions on them. That's it. That's all you're going to get in is two questions.
But they will help. I just really think, when you're talking about serving people and helping people and inspiring people to do cool things for people, that's so much of what I see out of you guys, and just appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And I'm going to make sure that as many people as I can get to see this, they're going to see it. So thank you, buddy.
Sounds good, Coach. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. See ya.
Right, bye-bye. I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing what mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk. Don't breathe anybody else's air. Not time to do that yet, but have a positive answer to the question, hey, how's it going? And so, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Bagels and Locks provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by the federal government's Drink Dirty initiative. Do you want to stay healthy? How'd you like to have a rock-solid immune system and a new cause to get behind? Once again, your friends with the federal government have come up with an answer for you. Introducing the Drink Dirty Initiative. In today's world, tensions are high and immune systems are low. Our goal is to shed light on the benefits of drinking dirty water and how to do it in a way that builds germ-fighting antibodies in your systems right away. Start simply with a single swallow from a drain pipe, a glass of water from the pool, or a couple of sips from stagnant standing water. And don't let those mosquito larvae worry you. Those little wigglers are pure protein. Just a few slurps of something completely unsanitary every day will begin to build the hearty physique you want, the body of our ancestors, the caveman. After a few months of dirty drinking, you'll be able to down anything you want. Stuck in Mexico with nothing but a leaky hose to quench your thirst? Not a problem for you, my friend. Drink away. In addition to what's going on inside, don't neglect the outside of your body. For instance, while traveling, keep a squeeze bottle of liquid from your garbage disposal around. Rub some into your hands several times each day, especially before mealtime. Germ-X isn't doing you any favors. Remember, real filth can do you a lot of good. So next time you're on a camping trip and everyone else is putting their precious purification tablets into their hydro flasks of river water, scoff at them and stick your head right into the river. Drink straight from the source like Daniel freaking Boone. Join the Drink Dirty Initiative today, and when the next pandemic hits, you won't even feel it. Drink dirty. It's a lot like Got Milk, but for smart people.